beyond this is our aim. The whole practice of the teaching, the whole teachings Lord Buddha gave, is to go beyond. So our body, in this life it is like this, another life it will be something else, previously it must have been something else. Our mind also is changing because of causes and conditions, sometimes external, sometimes internal, primarily internal, not primarily external. External are just some, you can say, like a stimulating factors, like this eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and mind. We have the six senses. We say not five, six senses. Eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, and the mind. Mind also works as a sense. So these six senses, they receive the external objects. Eye receives the, whatever is visible, come in contact with visible things. Sound come in contact with the smell. Sorry, the sound, ear. Like nose come in contact with the smell. You know? You want some tea or something? He can make a few tea, normal tea, green tea or
Green tea.
green tea. So the thing is, um, that's how our body and mind keeps on undergoing, whether it is in this life or it is in another life, it keeps on happening like this all the time. So our whole purpose is to understand the nature of impermanence, first of all, not just theoretically, but at a deep level. So everything we experience is ultimately impermanent, first to understand, to be able to recognize it to the deepest level. When it is impermanent, it cannot be satisfactory, because whatever you have now, how good it is, if it has to go away, if it has to change, you will always feel unsatisfied. So there is an unsatisfactoriness because of impermanence. And because it is impermanent and unsatisfactory, it is not something like an essence of our life. It's not like a atta or a self or something. It's just transient phenomena. Our body is transient phenomena, our mind is transient phenomena. So, but this is very deep psychological understanding or wisdom, you can say, which people can attain. People is possible to attain, but they have to practice meditation a lot, really a lot. There they can truly recognize, and then there's a great transformation. When they actually recognize, it's not just for the sake of a theoretical understanding. There's an inner transformation. So now as we work, as our mind is working, there's always a feeling of I-ness in whatever we do, in a big way or in a small way. So whatever, even if you are doing the best of things or trying to help people or anything, but there's a sense of I-ness in a very sometimes subtle. But when this transformation takes place in a person who has practiced and become enlightened, then transformation means the whole self sense of I is gone. So a transformed person, an enlightened person, means he doesn't perceive anything with the eye. Now whatever we perceive, we have a connection with the eye. Sometimes we understand this, sometimes we don't. But there is, when we go deep into our meditation, we can understand that. There's a sense of an eye. So as we keep practicing, we understand this is the wrong sense. There is no I. It's just this transient phenomena. So that when the transformation happens, all the way mind can connect and get stuck to in every phenomena, whether at this level, there are, for example, we say in Buddhism, this is one level, human being. There are so many beings below human level. Animals are one of them. There are beings which are not visible to the normal eye, but I can guarantee such people, like such beings, exist in this world. When you go deep into meditation, you can see there are beings who are higher than human beings. They also exist. That also I guarantee. But then, of course, with this normal eye, it has like for example, sound also. So to certain frequency we can hear. Some animals can hear at a lower frequency. Some animals can hear at a higher frequency. Similarly, our eyes also, our ears also are capable of hearing or seeing certain things at a certain level, not below, above that, not below that. But when we go deep into our meditation, we can understand a lot of things which are not purely visible or can be hard through the normal this thing. So the thing is, whatever beings are, whether it's higher than humans, there are beings which are very, very superior to humans. They don't have a physical existence at all. They just exist mentally, very high level. So Buddhism recognizes there is this Big Bang theory, you know. So Buddhism says there are big bangs, not just one series. It keeps on happening. And now recently, there is a very famous scientist called Roger Penrose. He's a Nobel laureate. He got Nobel recently, some couple of years, 1 or 2 years before. You can search his name, Roger Penrose. He's a very big scientist. He has said the same thing. It's not just one Big Bang, it's a series of Big Bangs, which our Lord Buddha said 2600 years before. That it's the world goes through expansion, the whole universe, expansion, contraction, expansion, contraction. So it's a series of chain of events, not just one time Big Bang happen and it's like not like that. People have this idea, no? But this now recently very big scientist and a mathematician, he is saying it's not just one Big Bang, it's a series of similar events. So all this, after all, we do so that our whatever way mind can get stuck to any phenomena, whether it is human level, superior to human level, subhuman level, this existence, another existence, whatever way mind can get stuck, or whatever way beings can continue in the samsara, that everything is cut off. Then we call this person an enlightened person like Buddha or his enlightened disciples. So in that case, this would be the last life that person leaves. So as the body breaks up, body has to break up. Even in the case of Lord Buddha or his disciples or anybody else, body's nature is to break up at some point of time. And old age, sickness, death is common for all. So when the body breaks up, there is no more physical energy, no more mental energy left for another being to arise anywhere in the universe. This is the ending. So the enlightened person, just like he gave a lot, gave an example, like the flame. You have a bonfire. The bonfire is there as long as the fuel, the wood and whatever is there, it is supported by fuel, it is burning. When all the wood or the fuel is consumed, exhausted, then the fire doesn't burn. So can you say the fire has gone to the east or to the west or upwards or downwards? There is no way of defining it. Because the fuel is gone, fire is gone. Simple, no? So it's some enlightened people are just like this. The fuel is gone. Fuel is ignorance and craving. When that is gone, they blow out from the samsara, whatever it is. So even if this may be a problem, this could be a problem, or anything could be a problem. You know, not just this. Sometimes sometimes you see parents, you have children?
No.
You got married or something?
I was married, but it's going through a process of divorce.
Okay. But yeah, that's okay. Like say for example, you have brothers and sisters.
Yeah, I have a sister.
Yeah. So people have children. Your parents have you and your sister. Now, when you are small, maybe some 6 months old, 1 year old, or 2 years, the way you or your parents interacted with each other, now how you interact with you and your parents interact, is it the same? It's not same. Some of the things or that you don't agree upon. You don't. That's normal. That's normal. But does it mean you are no longer their son? Does it mean they are no longer your parents? They're still your parents. You are still their son. But the thing is, that's how the impermanence works. Whatever we have, even our parents, it is said that our parents, no, even if nobody else were to love or care for us, our parents would still do. You know, they actually they make so much sacrifice to bring up a small baby. You know, so much sacrifice they have to do, take care every moment they have to take care. Otherwise, the baby may not survive. You know. After all this, also when the child has grown up, there is difference of opinion between the parents and the child. It's still the same, their child only or their parents only, but still their ideas no longer match. That's how the samsara is. There is nothing you can say this relationship or this thing or this particular object or this particular attainment or achievement, you can point out and say, this is permanent and stable and I can depend on this forever. So that's what we try to understand through our meditation. It's not just theoretical understanding, not just theoretical understanding. We try to understand it at a very deep psychological level of our mind, because how the mind normally works for day-to-day normal people is only the surface level. But there's something much more deeper than this. When we do practice meditation sincerely, we can understand there are various causes and conditions deep inside the mind, which is causing the thoughts to arise, causing certain thoughts to arise at certain time, not other thoughts to arise at that time, and other times some other thoughts to arise. All the causes and conditions gradually becomes clearer and clearer. And then we can understand all these causes and conditions, and whole thought process, whole physical process, whole mental process is basically empty, because none of these things going to persist forever. None of these things are dependable. None of these things I can depend forever. There is no dependence in them. Now I am sitting here. I'm sitting in the chair, or you are talking to me. We don't know, you or me, when are we going to die. Irrespective of anything, whether it is COVID or this or that, or even if sometimes in the past also there was no COVID, some 30, 40, 50 years before, or 100 years before, or 200, take anything. People still died. People still die. Because death is something that is not, that happens to everybody basically. It's a very universal thing. Aging and sickness and death, they are universal. So that's what our quest is, to not to linger in this life or in another life. Not to linger, but to go beyond this aging and sickness and death and transformation. In this is existence, or a superior to human existence, or a subhuman existence, nowhere we wish to linger. So it is a very deep, it's actually something. I was a lawyer. I was a lawyer at some point of time, and of course I didn't practice meditation, and I didn't have much idea about these things. But then I came to Buddhism because I felt, there's some truth here. Many years before, when I came to Buddhism, and then when I came to Buddhism, and then I started practicing meditation, and then all these little by little, whatever I understood, how deeply, how things actually work, how it appears to work and how it actually works are not same. It's very different. So now, so people come with their whatever, their like they see. We all can see certain problems in the world.
Suffering and prejudices.
Prejudices or discrimination or oppression or violence or whatever it is. It is there. But that's not the biggest problem. Earlier, in one sentence, I used to think there are certain problems in this world. Before becoming a monk, before practicing meditation, I now fully recognize and understand that it is wrong to say there are problems in the world. It is right to say world is the problem. The existence of the beings is the biggest problem. That's where the problem starts. Once you are born here, that's where the problem is. That's why Lord Buddha says, birth is suffering. The first noble truth, there is called Four Noble Truths. If you can go online and read, or you can take some books, Four Noble Truths, the four universal truths about beings. The where he says, birth is suffering. We say happy birthday, no? So Lord Buddha says there are no happy birthdays. You are suffering because you are born here. It's just like a fish.
You are born to suffer. Rather.
Once you are born inside the water, then you cannot say, I will not get wet. Water will not touch my body. It is not possible. Because you are inside the water. Similarly, the whole samsara inside the suffering in this way or in that way. Either this way or the, I was saying, irrespective of all other, the relationship between the parents and the children supposed to be sacrosanct. But sometimes it is not. Sometimes, you have seen, like the property or some issues or some disputes, parents kill their children or children kill their parents. So you can imagine what to talk of outside people or their this thing, you know. The parents with so much love and affection they bring up their children. Same parents when they kill those children, or same children when they kill their parents, then what to talk of changing nature of other things. You know. Anything can happen here in this world. There is no guarantee how to what level the samsara can go. You know. So these things, okay, if you wish to help people or if there is any element of truth in your research to help people, it is good. But then you also must remember people, whether in this way or in that way, to continue to live and continue to stay here as long as a living being in the samsara, you will still have dissatisfaction in this way or the other. It's not free from dissatisfaction.
Human life itself is suffering.
Human life, any life is ultimately unsatisfactory.
But does Buddhism believe in what do you say? Spirit, the Atma. It doesn't believe in Atma, right? Atma.
So beings are born, reborn, but without a soul. There is a very deep explanation for that. You know, there is something called paticca samuppada, dependent origination. You know, the mind has our karma. Where is it created? In the mind itself. First we think in the mind. We will do like this, we will not do like this. So there is an intention behind everything what we do. Everything. That intention is the karma. Not what we do with physical body or speak with our
That is at a
mouth.
later time.
That is just the subsequent process. But ultimately it starts with the mind. The intention starts with the mind. And that is what the karma is all about. And that is a very unique way of explaining the law of karma compared to, like people say, you hit somebody, that's karma. No, the intention to hit is the karma. So what you will get result is how strong was your intention to hit or harm. That will give result. How does it give result? You can understand this thing, and the beauty of it is you can understand this in meditation. I didn't understand, but when I meditated, then these things became clearer. I could certain things will just appear. You will know how it is happening right now within your mind, how it is happening. You know? So how it happens is mind, any intention that is applied like that is being enforced right now, intentional action. It has the power to produce one of these two or both two results. Any intention. It can create material waves, like it can create physical waves, like let's say at a very subtle level, not like a gross level. It can create waves of. It can create. Basically, it can create material phenomena. Mind has the power to create material phenomena without being material itself. Mind is not a material phenomena, but mind has the power to create material phenomena. And mind also has the power to create mental phenomena, which is non-material, non-corporeal. So either it works when an action is done, any action, good or bad, irrespective of that. So in Buddhism we say good actions are also at certain level not good, where they are also capable of producing rebirths. Good actions are good. They're better than bad actions. But then at some point of time they are not good enough. So the thing is, any intention produced in the mind will create a mental phenomena at a subtle level and a material phenomena. Now that, depending on the intensity of that intention, some intentions are very like you just, there's a mosquito biting, you just very negligently, with a slight bit of intention, maybe not the full intention to kill, but even if it is killed, it's okay. Like that you move and it dies. So there's a slight bit of intention. And then you actually kill, slap and kill. They are not same. According to Buddhism, they are not same. Intentions are different. Like you are a doctor, you are a surgeon. So you must have operated upon a lot of people, neurosurgeon. So you have to do brain surgeries, very complicated, I guess. No? They must be very complicated. No? So you can imagine slight bit of thing goes wrong, it can be fatal for the patient. But you have no intention to kill the patient. Whereas another person coming and stabbing to take the money or to kill, they have the full intention to kill. So even if the patient dies, your intention is not to kill, so you have no karma of killing. But the other fellow has full karma of killing. So this intention, when it is applied, it gives the result either instantly or subsequently. Means these webs or these mental phenomena and material phenomena will be created by the force of the mind, but it may give the full result right now, it may give the full result maybe after 20 years, 30 years, next life, it can be anything. Why? Take this chair for example. Now this is made from cane, no? And then there's so many things, they had to be brought together, cut from the forest and whatever cultivation, and then brought together. They have to bend it with heat and all those processes there. Yeah? After that they have to polish it and they have to fix these things, it takes time. So now cane is there, this cane was there in the cultivation or in the forest, but to say just because cane is there, chair should be there, doesn't work like this. No, from the cane to the chair it takes time. So the cause to the effect, it takes time. Sometimes it can be instant. You have a mango tree which has already ripened mangoes, you take and eat. Fruit is there, tree is there, fruit is there, instant. So some results instant. But if you plant a small sapling to grow into a big tree and then to give fruit, it may take 10 years. So it can depend. So all supporting conditions are present or not, it will depend on that, the result. It can be instant, it can be subsequently as well. So, and that is why beings, no matter what they do, they're one way or the other getting caught in their web of karma. But then there's a way of ending the karma as well. What is the end? When we practice the meditation very deeply, then, as I said, no, it's an intention. Intention to do something either in a good way or in a bad way, but there's an intention nonetheless. And that intention is something that creates, like every time, like say sometimes there's a tap which has become a little bad, or some problem with the tap, and drop by drop the water falls overnight, and then by the morning this thing is filled, the bucket is filled. You've seen, no? So every moment we are doing action. So they all pile up. They cannot exhaust themselves. So where do they go? They have to create another being. This law of karma will come together to create a being. And then automatically, by virtue of that, automatically it will transfer the remaining residual pending karma. But that's not a God. According to Buddhism, that's not a God. There is no divine being or somebody sitting there taking notes, writing records, and then handing out punishments. Such things do not exist in Buddhism. What it says is, that's the law of universe. It's a universal law. It's not a God or a deity or an entity or Brahman or anything. Nothing. It's the law, universal law itself. So that precisely determines this much residue, good or bad, it has to be transferred. So that itself will create a being. Being means body and mind, that's all. Body and mind, that's all. So, and then residue is transferred to that. That being goes on. That being also does karma, good way, bad way, mixed way. As for example, most of the human beings, our karma is kind of mixed. We don't do necessarily, for example, somebody who has killed, committed a murder. It's not that every day he commits a murder. It's not that all the life he has committed only murder. He might have helped other people also. Might have done something good also. And the Lord Buddha says this is kind of grey. Good also, bad also, mixed together.
I say the truth is the only religion, nature is the only God, and law of nature is karma.
Karma is one of the laws of nature. You can say that is for sure. Karma is one of the laws of nature. So anyway, so the thing is, so when we understand these things very deeply, then what we do is our mind understands as long as we create the karma, I will continue in the samsara. I will continue in the samsara, I will continue in the suffering. There is no freedom from suffering. So then gradually that force of creating karma, the force reduces, and then finally fades away completely. So no longer force left, then no longer karma left. So that person is free. No more continuation of this life to another life to another life. So this process of going in the round of birth and death to another one, and when we understand this process, there's ending of this.
But there's some confusion, like as far as I had heard about, Buddhism doesn't believe in afterbirth or something.
No, that's a wrong conception. That's a wrong. Buddhist believes there is a life after this, but then that's not depending on. I mean, it's not like because of an Atman or something. Atman or Paramatman, no such thing. It's primarily, for example, uh, like your father has some properties. Just take an example, and then he passes away after some years. So the property will be passed on to you. Similarly, whatever actions, this is a being. Take this monk as a being existing here. But prior to that, there was a being. Whatever actions that being did and whatever was residue transferred to this being. And now this being is doing karma, good or bad. Or this being is doing something very special, destruction of all karmas. That is also possible. You know, there's this thing called ending of karma. Not just the karma. Beings have, but that's a very rare thing because beings should have a very high level of intelligence to recognize, and then they should be able to practice enough meditation to actually execute this process. So, what is the ending of karma? Ending of karma is when you recognize all karmas, irrespective of good or bad or whatever it is, still capable of producing results, and some of these results will actually cause me to go into another life and suffer, and then another life and suffer, and then another life and suffer. My suffering will not come to an end. There is no ending of suffering. When this recognition gradually comes, then beings, as I said, no intention. There is a force behind this intention. That force is sense of I or sense of I-ness. That is the force. So, as you recognize this sense of I or sense of self is not there, then this force reduces. So everything that you are doing, as I see myself, how I talk to people prior to becoming monk, or how I dealt with people prior to becoming a monk, and now how I do. It's not like I make a plan to talk like this, I make a plan to speak like this, or do like this. But then, how we practice, how we see this non-self, it transforms the way we deal with the people, deal with ourselves, our own thoughts and emotions, with our own body, with external people. Because we see there is less value in the whole activity that we engage in. Less value, less and less and less value. And then ultimately we see no value. When somebody sees no value, then you say this person is enlightened. No value means there's no big deal whether I talk or don't talk, whether I do or don't do. These things have no essence, no eternal essence. So I can just fully let go all this from my mind, completely washed. So then the mind is kind of empty. Empty means empty in a way that there is no force left to do anything, neither in a good way nor in a bad way. No force, nothing. It's difficult to imagine or visualize for people.
Given in this situation, something like, as professionally I'm a doctor, if I see some patient who is suffering because of his wrongdoings, wrong karma, initially I hesitated to tell them. Like an intelligence officer came and he said he has a headache. Then I said, it's your karma because you don't intervene and prevent a death or complication which is happening, despite knowing it beforehand. So, I mean, in thought came and I told him like that. He was also laughing. But I mean, now that you say that, should I be truthful of what I think and what I
Now,
feel?
now that's when you say what you should speak. Lord Buddha says that's a very important thing. He says you must speak the truth, but also there are certain other criteria. You must also speak the truth in a kind way, not in a harsh way. You must speak the truth which is beneficial. If they don't take the benefit and you know they're not going to benefit out of this truth, don't speak it. And you should also recognize or anticipate this is the right time they're willing to accept. There is an acceptance of the truth from their side. Then you speak. Sometimes parents, if the children do some mischief, they instantly get angry or shout or beat them up or whatever it is. But sometimes the child is not receptive. So you have to stop it, but may not tell him immediately. You know, there is this story of a monk, enlightened monk. He had some disciples, and then one of those monks, he did something which was not appropriate, killed some small insects or some living creatures, living beings killed, intentionally, knowingly killed some honeybees and all those things, caused them to be killed. So then the monk, this teacher called him and asked, "Did you do like this?" "Yes." That's all. He never said anything at that time. Other monks were unhappy. Oh, he didn't tell him it is such a. He just put fire and those beings were burnt or something. You know, something they did to kill those beings. You know, it's not right for monks to do like this. Later point of time when that because he understood the junior monk is not in a receptive position, he didn't say anything. Later when he understood that junior monk, now if I tell him, he will receive and he will remember this lesson, then he scolded him. He shouldn't have done that. It's not right. So you should tell the truth, but you should also tell the truth in a kind way, and also which is beneficial for them. If they don't take out benefit out of this, don't tell. Keep quiet and speak at the right time, not all times. You know. So if these conditions are met, then it's proper. But sometimes in our overzealousness to say things, we end up saying, which is not beneficial.
No, sometimes I feel I might not meet that person again. So better tell it to him now, so that when he realizes the importance of it, he'll try to practice it. That
It is maybe, but then if he is not in a position to receive, if he thinks, oh, he's just cracking a joke, or I don't care about his words, then probably he will never recognize this. And he will continue to do. But when he has enough, this thing, what they call, enough suffering. Suffering is a very good thing. We say Buddhism, suffering is a bad thing, but suffering is also a good thing. Because when we have suffering, we look for way out of suffering. So that's why suffering, in a way, it is good. If it helps us to find a way out of suffering, it's a good thing. Not necessarily bad. People say suffering is bad. But then large number of suffering people have, I see, are basically because of their unwise attachments. Like, I don't want to make anyone feel bad, but somebody dies in the family, people cry or feel sad or this thing, like in a very, very, very stupid way they cry or lament or this thing. But then they must understand that this person was always supposed to die.
That is the truth of life.
Yeah, that's the truth of life. Was there a case that this person was not supposed to die and he died? Then you could be unhappy. Oh, this was not supposed to happen. It was always supposed to happen. So, as a young boy of 16 or 17 years of age, I recognized that both my parents will die. It just came to me. I was 16, 17 years of age. 15, 16 years of age. And then for a few days it didn't sink in. But then I contemplated and contemplated, then it kind of sunk in. And then when it was there, then it was easy. So when my father died, more than 12 years before, almost 12 years before, I recognized it was always supposed to be like this. There's nothing to be sad. Or tomorrow if my mother dies, she's old, she will die for sure. For sure she will die. I don't expect my mother to live forever. My mother will die. I will also die. all of you here sitting here will die. It's not a big deal anymore because that's how things work. So our that's so that when we recognize the truth, that's what makes our heart free from suffering. When we recognize this is how it is. Yeah? See, there are some things edible here. Maybe good for health. I don't know, maybe. Whether I eat them, I will still die. Whether I don't eat them, I will still die. It's as simple as that. Death is inevitable. Suffering is inevitable. That's why it's wrong to say there are problems in the samsara. It is right to say samsara is the problem. As long as you continue in the samsara, you will suffer.
Then do you think suicide is a way out of it?
No,
Then
because after suicide, beings are not free from samsara. That's how.
you'll be reborn.
Somewhere you will be. In fact, that is far more dangerous because when you are dying, for example, to kill a small mosquito or an ant, you need to. I don't like this creature. I'm going to kill this. You kill a bigger animal like a cat or a dog, I'm sure you haven't killed. But to kill, it requires so much of anger or hatred. To kill a human being, it requires much more hatred and aversion. To kill oneself, who himself is a human being, you can imagine how much of hatred or disliking one has to generate towards oneself. At the moment of death, he's killing himself or she is killing herself. So, if that is the case, with that intention, that strong, unwholesome mind, one is dying, one is no way of getting out of samsara. In fact, one always has to go downwards. There is no way of getting out of samsara by suicide. If that was the case, then it would have been the easiest solution.
Given this political and bureaucratic situation of corruption and so much of nepotism and the casteism and other things, how much should we put our effort to fight against it, to create awareness against it?
See, first of all, the thing is, generally we don't involve in politics or such things. We are very clear about it because there's for Buddhist monks especially.
No, I'm not a monk. But
No, yeah,
in my life.
yeah. So
what is
for
the
us,
balance?
for us, it is whoever it is, like the Buddha himself. In his times, there were rulers who followed him, but there's still there's this king of Kosala and king of Magadha. Magadha was a kingdom, and Kosala was another kingdom. And they were these king of Kosala and king of Magadha was the uncle and the nephew basically. So Kosala king's sister married Bibisara, and Bibisara after he died, Bibisara was killed by his son Ajatasattu. So Ajatasattu became the king. So he was his maternal uncle, Mama. Both were the devotees of Lord Buddha, but they used to fight with each other once in a while in a battle. Sometimes the uncle will win, sometimes the nephew will win. So one time King Pasenadi, the king of Kosala came. I lost the battle against came to Lord Buddha and said, I lost the battle against my nephew. I just saw him growing up and now I lost a battle against him, He said, Lord Buddha says, there's a very nice verse in the Dhammapada. Oh, you can take a Dhammapada. I will try to give you one. It's a small book with small verses, practical wisdom which you can implement in daily life. Jayang Veerang Pasavati. If you are a victor, you will get enemies. Dukkhang Seti Parajito. If you are a loser, you will live unhappily. You will sleep unhappily. Upasanto Sukhang Seti. The wise ones discard victory and defeat and stay happily, peacefully. So that's what he advised him, the king. That you sometimes you win, sometimes your nephew win, but this will not be the solution. Of course, as lay people, if you think something good you can help, your sole purpose should be. What your sole purpose should be behind anything that we wish to do is some benefit should come to somebody. Some benefit. And that benefit should also come to somebody not at the cost of harm or suffering to another person. You are trying to benefit somebody, and then in the process you harm another person. That's not right. So if you want to take up a cause or do anything, if it is for the benefit of people in a good way, you can do that. But make sure in the longer process, in the longer picture, bigger picture, you don't cause more harm than goodness. You know, that also you should ensure that. So anything done with the intention of helping people, it's okay. And samsara will always be like this. You know, in Lord Buddha's time also there were so many conflicts between the rich people, poor people, high, low, this, that, so many conflicts. Now also, some of them similar conflicts, some of them little you can say modified, but the basis is same. Basis of the conflict is same. Basis is still, I want this, I don't want to give it to you. That's all. Or I want this thing, I don't want you to get. Or other people also saying like this. No, it's still the craving for oneself, you know, and oneself or for one's community or for one's family or for one's name or fame or whatever it is. It's still the source of all the conflict is still I versus you. No, it is always I versus you. That's why Lord Buddha's teachings are so special. He teaches there is no I, there is no you. It's all you fight because you are under this misconception I versus you. Both is wrong impression. Develop your wisdom to that level when you no longer struggle with this I versus you. You know this is no point doing it. This is where it goes.
We need to identify what is wrong in each other and try to reform each other so that everybody becomes more happy and peaceful.
No. You have to be very careful about it. So now you came here, you asked me some question, we are giving you some discourse or whatever talk it is. But sometimes you just come to visit the temple. You know? I will see you or you will see me. But if you don't come and ask me, I probably will not tell you anything. The intention, we can't change people, you know. We just give two examples, you know. Lord Buddha has one cousin called Devadatta, his first cousin, who also became a monk. And then he became very rogue, very bad. He tried to kill Lord Buddha, I think 3 times. Tried to kill him through this way or that way. And tried to create a division between the community of monks. All kinds of evil things he did. Because he was not willing to change his evil mind. He wanted to control basically the entire monastic community, and I will kill the Buddha and I will become the leader, like this kind of thing, you know. So in spite of all the advice from Lord Buddha, he didn't change. So change. Another person called Angulimala, who was a very dreaded dacoit, when he came across Lord Buddha and he heard the teachings, he said, this is true, I have been doing wrong things, now it is time for me to change. He changed and he became enlightened. You see, so the thing is, the change has to come from oneself. But what we can do if somebody is sincerely looking for good advice, sincerely looking, okay, I will please give me some advice, I don't know what is the right thing, please give me advice. Then if you know something good that can help them, tell them. But going out of your way and telling, no, you are wrong, no, you are wrong, that will create more this thing. People will not listen.
No, but many people are ignorant. They don't know the multiple factors behind it and they don't understand. Even many of the politicians, when I tell them that our EVMs are manipulated by the Europeans, so we are still under their control. Why don't we attain full freedom? They are like, what are you speaking? They are like totally fixed on the point that EVMs are tamper-proof. Or when I say that it's not the Chinese virus, it's not the China which is creating that, it is the Europeans who are finding through USA the Chinese factories, Chinese labs. So maybe ignorance is creating rift between understanding.
But do they really believe, even if, assuming you are correct, but then it is such a big thing, your words they may not take seriously. They will, okay.
No, personally also I am suffering. The lady who I married, she is a doctor, but she concealed all her diseases which she had before engagement also. And then she married, and within a month after marriage, everything worsened. And I supported her through the treatment. But later I felt when there is no trust, I couldn't feel any love or any sense of attachment for her. Then she said, if you don't treat me like a wife, don't think I can't get love outside. Then I felt, okay, if she is in that thought process, I mean, so many tried to convince me saying that she would have just told you to taunt you to make love to her or be happy with her. But I mean, if that thought has come and if that thought has to come on the tongue, probably there is a long way of
There is some intention in the
behind
mind,
it.
no? There is
So that is a
something.
wrong thing which breaks the bonding of trust and
Yes, right.
so I couldn't continue in that marriage. Then it took nearly 6 months to convince myself, and then nearly 6 months to convince my parents, and then I applied for divorce in 2018, and still she is resisting and not giving. So I'm suffering in that front also, and I'm suffering in the professional front where there is discrimination by people who want to do unnecessary investigations, unnecessary surgeries, and unnecessary billing for simple things. And when I'm trying to propose many protocols of medical manage, I mean, how to treat diseases by medicines alone, avoiding surgeries, they're saying, why do you want to do that? Why don't you earn money on doing the surgeries? And now, when it comes to social causes like this, bigger picture of COVID or these
Anything.
politics,
Yeah, so that's
somewhere
why I
I'm suffering. Because that is, as you said, human life is suffering. But,
yeah, because it is, you have good intention, but you must also recognize, just because certain things are ultimately at the end of the day, you see, whoever it is, how big or small they are, whatever their actions are good or bad, exactly, precisely they will receive the results at some point of time. You know, we don't have to, we don't, sometimes we feel we should not necessarily to take revenge, but to do something. Even if we do something or don't do something, law of karma will still do something, you know.
No, my greed is if I enlighten them with the karma theory and make them deter them from continuing such wrong things,
You see,
probably that will help many other people. That is one.
it is good intention,
Initially, I
but
had an,
will they really take it? That's the question. Will they really
as
take
I told
it?
you, I should not lose a chance now. Maybe they realize later.
If you think somebody is sincere to learn, you can tell them. You can tell them, no problem. That's fine. You can tell, oh yeah, this in some actions we must. There are some actions probably were not right, and then you can do something about it. You know. But sometimes they don't take this advice seriously.
That's true.
In fact, the biggest challenge in the whole world is not to change anything else but to change oneself. That is the biggest challenge. And that is the biggest struggle for. That's why life of a monk, externally it seems easy. Externally, okay, you get a place to stay, you get food to eat. Okay, you know, life is kind of peaceful. Yeah, in certain ways it is. But then we have to calm the rage of inside world, not outside
Yeah,
world,
inside desires and thoughts.
whatever it is, to calm and to let it go. To let it go, not just for like temporary times, permanently. That's where it takes time, and that's where it takes a very sincere and prolonged struggle or a battle to give it up completely, fully, to be fully free in the mind. So that's where a monk's life is. It looks easy in an outside way. It looks but that's why when sometimes people say, oh, it's kind of easy, and then we have this process. We have this thing called temporary ordination. People can ordain for 7 days or 10 days. People can ordain. We allow that. And that was allowed by Lord Buddha himself. People can ordain for a week, 10 days, 1 month, up to there. Sometimes people have leave, no? They want to. So after 7 days or 10 days, they say, like I have seen a lot of people, educated people. Oh, I thought it was easy. It is so tough, you know. So because externally it looks easy, but when you actually become a monk and stay as a monk, then you know, oh, this is tough. And to continue day in and day out is tough. But then there is a greater satisfaction. And that satisfaction comes when you actually understand the working of this ignorance, how your mind is fooling yourself. You understand, you are able to let go, you are able to rise above the ignorance of your own mind. rise above the ignorance by your own wisdom through your practice, then there's a deeper satisfaction. Yes, this was dangerous, this was harmful, this was like a poison inside me, and at least to some extent I have given up this poison. It is so harmful. That's why Lord Buddha says, if tiger kills you, no problem. As poisonous snake kills you, no problem. At the most, one life will die. At the most. But the unwholesome tendencies and the ignorance and craving of your mind will cause you to be born and die thousands of times. Do something about it. That's far more dangerous than tigers and lions and wild animals or robbers or enemies or anything. They must at the most one life, okay. But then this thing, what is inside us, is far more dangerous. And as we meditate, we understand, we recognize this is so dangerous. This is so powerful, overpowering. And then when you practice, then you reduce their power, then you feel, oh, it looked insurmountable, insurmountable, something which you cannot cross. It looked insurmountable at some point of time, but with my practice, I can see it is not insurmountable. It can be crossed. Even though you haven't crossed and gone to the other side of the mountain, but you can, I can kind of cross. It is possible. I can see a way out of this. That much wisdom with your practice, surely. And then if you keep walking, you will surely go to the other side. So but this is so subtle. Even Lord Buddha said, this is so subtle to tell it. In fact, you are telling about changing the people, no? After his enlightenment, when he first thought about teaching people, then he thought, this is so subtle. And I meditated for so many lives and practiced and came to this level and became enlightened. This is so extremely subtle, beyond the normal intellect of the people, and people who are so much engaged in the objects of the senses, to see, to hear, like this, all the time we are engaged here only, or to think in the mind. People who are engaged like this, to teach them that something is beyond this and they can actually go to the other side, it is almost impossible. Should I teach or should I not teach? That same doubt came to his mind. Same doubt. Should I really teach this? Will they understand, or it will be just tiring for me to go around and telling people? Then he had this called vision of a Buddha. He can see minds of the people. He can extend to as far as he wants and see how the minds of the people generally. He saw, in his own words, there are few beings with little dust in their eyes. Exactly, that's the word he used. I see there are beings with little dust. Not all, only some people with little dust in their eyes, means their level of wisdom is higher than others. So when they hear, they'll acknowledge and they will grasp and they will understand and realize. For them I will teach, only for them. So in a way, he understood his teachings would never, in a way, it will never go to the masses and everybody will be overwhelmed. This is like this. Yeah, people can take up Buddhism in an external way. At some point of time, in the times of Emperor Ashoka or at that time, there were many Buddhists. A large number of people were Buddhists. Now also, so many Buddhist monasteries and getting discovered every day. So in a way, externally people can take up Buddhism, but to take up the Buddhism internally, as Lord Buddha wanted us to, that is the toughest part. Because there we have to change. We have to really transform ourselves.
I went through a process of my own small lies for gain. Like if a patient is waiting in my clinic, I would say I'll come in 5 minutes, even though I knew it was take half an hour.
Yes.
Then later I started saying no. I'll tell the truth, even if they want to leave without.
So this is small, but this is substantial change in a way. So you are no longer bothered about just the money. No, you are making a change. Okay, whether money is less or more, let me be truthful. That's a good beginning.
In fact, in 2016, I did a press conference saying that let us invoke Satya Yoga so that everybody is healthy and happy because I felt the subconscious mind creates the diseases because of the duality of our lives.
In Buddhism we have this we say this 4 way disease can come. One is food, any eating habits, dieting habits, because of unhealthy eating or whatever it is, or less eating or more eating or overeating or whatever it is. Food, if it is not proper or if it is over or less or whatever it is. Then season, which includes airborne diseases, waterborne diseases, all kinds of diseases.
The weather changes.
Weather and whole environment itself you can take. That is another. And these are two external causes for which disease can come. Then the third one is mind-borne diseases, kind of you can say psychosomatic diseases. And then it's actually true. I personally came across a case. There was this person, I will not take the name and anything. That person had a very, very, very angry kind of mind. Very angry, always hateful towards others, always hating others. हमको थोड़ा पीने का पानी देगा संजय, warm water दे दो. Hateful kind of mind, always finding fault with people, always complaining about people, always. Never. You want some more tea or something, or you tea? Hateful. And then what happened is, I told this person, you see, you have such hateful disposition, hateful and complaining and negative kind of mind. It's not good for you. You should try to change. And otherwise, if you don't change, in the long run, you will suffer. I had a feeling she is not doing it correct. Whatever the he or whatever. And then that person, after some years, I came to know. They went to their own place, native place. Come to know she developed cancer, it seems. And I am 100% sure, because of such negative state of mind and hateful and angry and fault finding and that kind of attitude, when we create wholesome states of mind, it affects not just our mind, it affects our body in a positive way. When you affect, like there's a meditation called metta, loving kindness meditation. We sit and we start with ourselves, not with other people. May I be peaceful and happy. And then we radiate to our closest relatives, like our spiritual teachers and parents and closest relatives. And then we extend our circle to maybe our friends and other relatives and neighbors and people living here in the city and whole of state and country and whole of universe, and then all living, not just human beings, all living beings. So when you develop that kind of state of mind, a mind of loving kindness or compassion, and you live with that, then you have a very positive effect on your body as well. Physically, if it light, you can see a lot of. I have personally seen, like many times, our state of mind is very good, very kind of high. Many times we know disease was about to come and it didn't come. It also happens. It will come. Or even if it comes, it just gives a small result and goes away. Whereas, when you have a lot of hateful, angry or negative state of mind, it causes these diseases to be more stronger in the body. So that is the third one, psychosomatic diseases. Third one. And the fourth one is, of course, because of law of karma, whatever actions we do. So whatever sickness comes to us, it can be either one of these four or a combination of four. One and two, 1 and 3, 3 and 4. It can be anything. Any other question?
Right now I'm in a state of mind is okay. I need to find a companion in life. I need to find try to reform the people. Maybe create awareness for those who are ignorant and create a sense of fear or karma for those who are trying to do some wrong things and reform them.
In India, you see, it's a funny thing. In India, you go to north or south or east or west, everybody swears by the law of karma. Everybody, almost everybody. Nobody follows it.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, there are only few people who truly recognizes this is good, this is evil, to avoid evil, to do good. Only few people. Everybody swears by it. Indians, it's a cultural thing, you know. Karma will, you know. But nobody really is afraid. They are afraid. You know why they are afraid? When they are sick or problem or they are already half dead. That time they are afraid, but it's too late.
So, and then beyond that, I mean, somewhere I started my public life in protesting against the refined oil. Initially, I thought those are the, chemicals in the refined oil are creating more cancers and more diseases, hypertension, diabetes. I started mailing the health ministry, the officials, and everybody, but there was no response because there was a lot of money lobby from the industry. And then gradually I felt I should come into mainstream politics and contest and win and maybe do the change. But it's not such a easy thing because I realized about the election, the mind manipulation, the media manipulation, and then ultimately I realized about the machine manipulations. And then I've been fighting against that for the past 6 years, and I did a fasting protest, whole day fasting protest in 2020, and then for nearly 2 months fasting, daily one meal I used to fast.
We monks have no meal after 12.
After 12 in the afternoon.
Yes,
Okay,
12 is the last. 12 by 12 we have to finish our meal, last meal of the day. Morning we can take a breakfast and a lunch, or you can just take the lunch. It's our choice. But 12 is the last time we have a solid meal.
Okay, it's
Then in the evening time we can have this green tea or juice or something, but no solid meal.
okay.
From 12 to next day sunrise.
Sunrise. Okay.
Sunrise. That is a standard routine for all the Buddhist monks.
I didn't know this. Yeah.
So we have a half day fasting always going on here.
So it's intermittent fasting. Actually, I realized the importance of fasting in controlling tumors long way, and I have been advocating for my patients also. Even inflammations like some back pain or headaches, all those things are because of the carbohydrates we take.
Yes,
So
and
if we
at the
take-
wrong time, that they eat at the late at night and then they go to sleep.
I
There's
al-
no exercise and nothing.
I also suffer with a reflux disease, so I can't eat late, too much late night, or even have a party in the night and take alcohol or something. So gradually now I have come to, during the COVID times I worked in the ICU, helped many patients. Then I felt that okay, this is a global depopulation agenda which is trying to bring down the
With you.
my friend. Yeah, come.
Can I come?
Yeah,
Please come. So it is trying to decrease the population to 50 crores from the present existing 800 crores of people population. Imagine they want to cut down nearly 750 crores of, kill 750 crores of people. So when
you want some tea?
Yeah, I'll just tell them.
Okay.
So if that is the situation, how when they are so determined to do that, how much should we resist? How active should we be in resisting?
If you think you can make some positive impact or help the people in a positive way, uh, you can take up a cause and do something to good for the people. You can go ahead. That's not the biggest.
No, sometimes what happens is I was protesting here for the whole 2 months. One protest, the police took me to the station and they kept me from afternoon till evening. And my parents got to know. Then my mother starts saying, if you don't stop political activities, then I'll commit suicide myself because I don't want to see you being killed by somebody else. And that is an emotional blackmail sort of a thing that is happening at home. So my sister gets emotional. She says, "You suffered through so much."
Your sister is here, or
She stays with us only.
okay.
My brother-in-law is a gynecologist who works in the
Your
army.
sister is also a doctor.
She's a dermatologist. She works in
So your,
Kempegowda Medical
your
College.
parents were doctors?
No, my dad was a bank manager when he
Okay.
retired.
But
My
both
mom-
your brothers and sister, both of you became doctors.
Yeah, we became doctors.
Okay.
So she also gets emotional about it because she knows what all struggle I went through to come get through my education. But now she feels that instead of practicing medicine and living a happy life, maybe and even in the divorce front, I feel she's the one who has concealed all her problems, all her medical problems, and now she's resistant to give me divorce. The advocates say, why don't you pay her something to come out of it? I have an emotional turmoil saying that why should I being the sufferer, should pay her money and try to get a divorce out of her? Why can't I fight it out saying that she was the one who has cheated me or deceived me?
I think better to tell in the court that if she has hidden something, in fact that is against them like normal whatever marriage act. I understand, if hiding to get like some of the things, it's not right. So it's better to.
So I'm going through everyday choices of what is right, what is wrong, and what is the.
We all have to do
Yeah,
this.
that's true.
It's not just you. Everybody, him, me, him, everybody. We
Everybody
all have
has-
to make our choices every day. By the moment we get up till we go to sleep, till we are.
Now when he says he wants to find it out, I also feel the same, because see, for me the truth should always prevail than me. I am not bigger than the truth. What is the truth? She has cheated him. The truth is she has cheated him, and she should accept that. Okay, I have cheated him. At least let him live peacefully. I'll give the divorce. Instead of that, the woman has taken another step of harassing him for money and as well as this thing. So in that case, he
It's
should
not
be
right.
an example. He should be an example. Okay, he may suffer. Like he says like some people say he's suffering. Yes, even I have told him many times. See, my way of life is different and his way of life is different. Why it is? Because I started meditation when I was 11 years old. So my mind is very firm and strong. So I can take the decisions. So right now he has not done any meditation. He has not gone through the cycles which we, and I think even you have seen the cycles, like feeling of that chakra. What we say, you believe in that.
We don't
you
believe in
that
chakra meditation and chakra and all those things.
Yeah.
Ours is not this thing. It is kind of,
But,
in a way, it's kind of simple.
Yeah. No, in Hinduism
Hinduism, they have
has
these
a
chakras, yeah, but we don't have anything like that.
But somewhere
And
those
anyways-
chakras are connected to the Buddhist chakras, right?
We don't have any chakras itself. We have only one chakra called Dharma chakra.
Dharma chakra.
That's the Dharma chakra means it's not. It's like the wheel. Wheel means the teachings, basically the teachings given by the Lord Buddha. There's a place called.
No, I remember Buddha for only one reason. Like I lived my life on a truthful way until 18, 19 years.
80 years. he lived
19
for-
years, when I was 18 and 19 years. After that, when I started to mingle with the society, I was not allowed to mingle because I come from a special family. We are not allowed to mingle with common people. It was there and all. My dad did not allow me. So when I started out of school, I had to mingle with the people in the college and everything. So for me, there was only one way I had to decide in future, like what I should do. Then the middle path proclaimed by the Buddha came to my help. The middle path proclaimed by Buddha in the religious Buddhism is one thing. The same ideology, I am not saying that I followed the same middle path, but I took the ideology of Buddhism of taking the middle path. Like, I have to trend both the ways. One is hell, where you have to speak untruth, and the other one is truth. You have to speak the truth. So, if I had to do something to the society, I had to be alive first. For to be being alive, I had to take the middle path. So I took the middle path. That is almost the ideology of Buddhism. You know about why the middle path came in between. Like it was, his followers were confused to take which path to go into the religious practices.
Buddhist middle path is.
No, it was a confusion in those time itself. When his
No,
preaching, during his preaching itself, there was a confusion between his followers. Like they whether Vedic was the one they had to follow or this they had to follow. Then the Lord Buddha said you have to take the middle path. That middle path word arised because of that.
But in Buddhism, the middle path in the first discourse, where he gives first discourse, that is in the Sarnath. There's a place called Sarnath in
I've
UP,
been there.
Varanasi, near to Varanasi.
I've been there.
Yeah. So it's about, there was these two primarily, even now you see, even similar, religious doctrines were primarily in these two lines. One was the you can enjoy nicely the world and still do your this thing, spiritual practice. I mean, like enjoy nicely means just enjoy the world.
Being married.
Not just being married. Being married is not just the just the worldly pleasure and nothing else.
Okay.
Just the worldly pleasure. Some people are married, but they are also spiritual.
Spiritual.
Yes, some people are married, husband, wife, both of them are spiritual, or one of them are spiritual. So not that just because somebody is married they cannot be spiritual. It's also not like it's not, some people are after marriage also they are spiritual. So it's not. But some people don't care about anything. They just enjoy the world. I mean, enjoy the senses basically, object, sense, object. Another is like you can say self mortification, torturing the body, not eating, not taking bath and whatever, all kinds of bodily torture. So these two, Buddha says, a true spiritual seeker must not go by this, not go by this. You must find a middle path between these two. If you torture the body too much, you will only suffer and not achieve anything. If you enjoy the senses mindlessly, then also you will not achieve anything. So you have to, if you are a householder with families, you maintain your family, you earn, you're living in a honest way, support your family, take care of your parents, your wife or children or whatever. That is also part of your spiritual practice. Along with that, you can also engage in spiritual practice, whether it is the jhana, generosity, or practicing meditation or such things, time to time. Not all times, but at times when you have free time, you can engage in these things also. So you are living a kind of balanced life. You are taking care of your all your family requirements, but at the same point of time, you are not heedlessly living. It's like
So
heedlessness.
that's what I meant to say.
Yes,
Like,
so-
when I was 19 years or 20 years old, like I had to choose a path where I had to take a decision.
Mm.
Either I have to tread the path where people will think that okay, this guy speaks bullshit. When I was telling them the truth, it was bullshit for them because they are not addicted to talk truth.
The
So
whole
that
world
time
will-
I told no, the Buddhist philosophy of taking the middle path in me that in my life.
So it kind of
Sometimes he also keeps telling me, he also doesn't know. Today he came to know why I take both the paths. But even he was confused about me, like he has seen my two characters, but he was confused which was the true character. Actually, the truthfulness is my true character, but I had to trade the other character because of the world I had to live.
Yeah, sometimes you have to manage
Manage
things.
the things which I had to live in the world.
So I would suggest if you like, if you are interested, we have these regular Sunday programs here, Sunday morning, around 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock. So there's meditation and then there's a discourse. So you can come here on Sundays if you want. And then we have उनको एक meditation schedule है
That's in English or Kannada?
in English, and then there's a it's from morning one is in English, and then 12:30 to 1:30 there is a Kannada discourse as well. So you can attend both. You can attend one of
The
them.
only thing he lacks is the meditation.
So and for no, one more. Two of them. One more of this. One more of this. One more of this.
Do you believe that there are
There's a meditation schedule. We have this retreat center. I just that Golden Palm Resort. What that new APMC yard. That Golden Palm Resort is there. No? So there we have this meditation center. We have this whole schedule.
Okay.
So if you want to join any meditation, there's Kannada. It's in Kannada. It's in English. All languages is there. So you can join according to your this thing. You can see the schedule, and if you wish to join there also, you can join. I think that might help you also in a way to find some kind of balance, the inner balance.
No, even among Gauda community, Kuvempu was very for the progressive thinking, and so he gave a concept of Vishwamanava, wherein we are a global citizen, we know about everybody, and we think in the right lines. So I believe that we should enlighten ourselves for the truth and be the global citizens and create a heaven on this earth, because there's no other place where something called heaven or hell. It's all what we create in our minds and what we create in our lives. So
If your mind is with wisdom, then it's always a heaven. Whoever you live with, whoever you talk to, good people, bad people, it's like the lotus leaves you see.
yeah.
Water falls on it, then it falls into the water. It doesn't stick to that. So
And that
our practice is to make our mind like this, like the lotus leaf. Water will fall, but it will go away. It will not stick there. For other leaves, it will get smeared. So If we can make our mind like this, then it's always a good place wherever we go. Whatever we do, it's still a good thing. So that takes time, of course. That's not something we can do overnight. But if we make the effort, it is possible.
So I seek your blessings for creating a heaven on earth.
No, there is a heaven. We have to identify.
No, it's,
There
I
is
mean,
a heaven actually. See,
we have to what do you say, realize the heaven within ourselves
yes.
and make everybody realize it together.
You can just tell them, encourage them, people, okay, this is a good way to do. This is a better way to do than what you have been doing. And after that, some people will outright not listen to you. That's fine. That's
Because
perfectly fine.
sometimes within the with the confusion
We
or
can-
the
You can give him a best example is, you take this compound and go outside. It's a different world.
It's exactly.
Where you do not have any control on that.
Yeah, we
But
can't.
whereas when you step in, this is a heaven and you have a control on that. So this is an example. You cannot go on creating whole world as a heaven.
We don't even strive for that.
Yes, you should not strive for that.
We should strive for our. If your mind has find the peacefulness ultimately, then that your struggle will end. We struggle because our mind struggles. Wherever it goes, it struggles. Huh? Wherever it goes to good people, it struggles. It goes to bad people, it struggles. But when we don't have struggle left in the mind, then wherever we go, no struggle. These are just these people. Wise people, okay. Unwise people, okay. Good people, okay. Bad people, okay. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. So there's everything is perfect in a way for us because there is no more burden. Somebody gives you a big suitcase, and then he say, you can go to 5-star hotels. You can go to stay in the foreign countries, best of locations and best of hotels. But you must always hold it in your hand. Then you always feel heavy. What is this? I need to put it down. He says, you put it down, then your luxury is taken away. So that's the burden of our mind. But when you actually put it down, now it feels light. I don't care your hotel is good or not. My burden is gone. I don't care. The samsara is like this. It looks like 5-star hotel, but you have to still carry the burden.
Okay.
But when you put down the burden of the samsara, okay. Your samsara, is it 5-star or 1-star? I don't care. I don't want the burden. Then you actually feel light. No, my hand feels light. My body feels light. So we have to put down our burden. And that's a gradual process. It's not something you just learn and you become perfect. Nobody becomes like this. Not me, not you, not like. But if we keep doing, there's a gradual change and gradual upward movement internally. So do that. And of course, if you are doing something good, try to help people in a way, positive way. You can do that. But also you should remember that word of mine, that it's not that there are problems in the samsara is the problem.
Maybe I get too wound up and worked up by the process rather than being contented and happy and peaceful within myself while I'm trying to do the things. So with that peace of mind, maybe I'll be more acceptable. They'll feel more. If I portray that happiness within me, then that will.
If you find your own happiness, then most of the times you don't have to. Of course, you will have kindness and compassion, whatever. If you help one person in a positive way, that's much more useful than to try to help the whole world. Because you see, you help a person, one person even. Like today you have come here, I am telling you something. If you follow these things, after 10 years you will see a great change within your own life. Maybe you are just the only person I have advised. And you took the advice, you followed it, your life became very nice. That itself is a wonderful thing. Rather than me going and giving a lecture to thousands of people,
Yes.
none of them taking it. It's of no great use. But you take my advice and follow it, transform your life, it's much more useful. At least, because world will always be like this. In the
Yeah.
thousands of years
Yes.
before also it was like this. Now
It
also
will be
it is
like
like now this you feel the problem, but there were many problems before this. And there will be
problems
many
keep changing.
In
but-
future also, it keeps on.
problems keep changing, but problems still remain. They don't go away.
Okay.
Yes, if you want to do something, it's good. But then you should also keep that at the back of your mind. You know, it's not like all the things will be, everything will be perfect. Don't change the world. Change yourself.
Same thing has been told from my side already.
Mm.
I have told the same thing. Like, instead of people neglect it. So try to put your resource and everything in limited space. Make the change there, and instead of you being don't want to take the responsibility of making bigger change, you make the small change. Let them go and change this thing. It's like
If one person
you are
becomes good
enlightening
because of
uh,
you, if one person goes in the right track because of you, that itself is a great achievement.
No, I can take him to many places where there is a needy people are there who are eager to do education and become something to the society. And
So-
they are more reliable because they know the value of the money and as well as the value of the education and value of the moral and everything. So they will become our torch bearers. Instead of if we go to the public, they will just listen today, night they go sleep, tomorrow morning will be changed. Waste of it. It's a waste.
Sometimes it is not useful. Yes.
You were saying about the power of thoughts to do something like bodily change and mind changes in the mind.
Yes,
How
it
do
is
you
possible.
enhance that?
You have to practice a lot of meditation.
Start with the
Yes.
meditation.
It is not like you just think and it will happen. You have to learn and practice meditation
I
sincerely.
mean, we can develop the powers of thought broadcasting and maybe
The first lesson in meditation is take things as it is right now, not to make any plan, not to have any expectation. Zero expectations. Absolute zero expectations. Start with zero expectation and you end as being zero. The ultimate goal of enlightenment is being zero. So you end as zero. Start with zero expectation. Then keep working. Like you have to cross the Himalayas and go to the other side. You can make a lot of plans, but when you actually start climbing, you face newer and unknown challenges. So take the challenge,
as in
whatever it comes, overcome, go to the next. That's all. Don't. So Lord Buddha says, try to live in the present moment. This moment, your mind is good or not. That's what matters. What my mind will be after 10 years is not. I'm not bothered about it. I can't even imagine what it will be after 10 years. No. But if my mind is good today and tomorrow and day after 10 years, it will still be good. No. So there's a consistency in this whole thing.
as I started practicing to become more truthful, I could sense that whatever information I wanted was coming to me on its own, even without me asking for it. So somewhere I felt the intensity of the truth in us acts like a magnet for the truth around us. So it's
It
more
is
like
true. If you
I-
want to get the ultimate truth,
Mm.
you must start with the day-to-day truths. Yeah, that is
And
true.
the more I gave knowledge, gave out the knowledge, what I've understood, what I feel the truth to others, the more empty I became, the more other new knowledge, new truths came to me, I felt. So somewhere, maybe sometimes I feel, am I thinking too much about myself, or is it the true happening? I mean,
You see, we all have our own way of thinking. It is for all of us, you, me, everybody. But the thing is, these thinkings, these thoughts and mental feelings are primarily not rooted in the true wisdom. Not. They're mostly rooted in mental proliferation, from this thing to this thing to this thing. Just thoughts or visualizations or intellectualizations or such things. But most of them are not for real. They are just mental images or mental feelings. But ultimately, they are not really true. So, but as we don't know, as our mind is not so developed, we don't know, we think they are true. Our thoughts, our ideas, our perceptions, our views, they are true. We think. But when you go into the meditation, you don't grasp at them. You don't grasp at all these mental thoughts and feelings and perceptions or intellectualization. You don't grasp at anything. When you don't grasp at anything, then their true nature, these are all empty. They are not for real. This slowly appears to you. They're not for real. So then when you do like this, then automatically what appears is the true knowledge, true wisdom, not your visualization, what it really is, what a Pali yatha bhutam jnana darsana, things as they really are. This is the table. This is a table, no? What table? Wooden table, made of wood and some gum and all, some adhesive and all that thing. This is the table, but this is not the table. This is just these four elements: solidity, liquidity, gas and heat. They have combined in a certain way. This is also solidity, liquidity, gas and heat. This is also, this body also. You know, solidity, liquidity, gas, heat. Body is also just like this. The statue is also like this. This is like, every material thing is just this. Why they look different? They have combined in a different way, that's why. But ultimately, there is nothing called a table. There is no table. It's just these four elements. Just these four elements coming together in certain way. A diamond or a piece of a diamond and
Diamond is also carbon, charcoal
carbon
is also
only.
carbon.
Charcoal, exactly. That's what I was about to tell. Diamond and a piece of coal. This same carbon combination only, no carbon bond only, no. But they are combined in a different way. That's why one looks black, one looks shiny. But
One is
ultimately,
cheap and other one is costly.
ultimately they are
Solid, liquid, gas, and
heat.
Heat.
All things
Like
are.
even the medicines are.
So when we meditate and go into this nature of our body, then we see this is all this, you, me, this, that, it's just like this. No big, no small, no great superior, no inferior, it's just like this. Nothing to hold on to say this is good, this is special, this is should be rejected, this should be accepted. All these are our perceptions. You know? So that's why we meditate, to understand the true nature of things, whether it is the body, whether it is the material things, whether it is the nature of mind and mental phenomena. When you understand them, then you know, these are just anyways passing, temporary time pass, no big value, no big deal, no big deal. So that's the final thing, no big deal. Good things, no big deal. Bad things, no big deal. Praise, no big deal. Criticism, no big deal. Because they are all just like this. Come together, disintegrate. So, but anyways, that's the thing. But then you have to practice on your own to understand this. And everybody has to practice on their own. You or me or him or anybody. Everybody has to do
in
that.
2015, when I contested for the BBMP election, I was very stressed up, and then I started meditation, Anapanasati, and I felt a lot better after that. Then I felt that if being truthful to our thoughts, like every word we speak, we should analyze so much of all the variables and come to a consensus truth and speak the truth. That is the biggest meditation, the momentary
Being
meditation.
truthful is very important. Then you are being honest with yourself. More than on. When we say we endure, there's something called patient endurance. Lord Buddha says it's one of the highest austerities. Austerity is not hanging from a tree. Austerity is to endure all the good and bad things and not to react. Why? Because we don't endure other people. We don't endure outside situations. We endure our mind telling, why should I, why should I, why should I? We endure that and we let go. We don't struggle with that, we gradually let it go. Then our mind is empty. So next time such a thing comes, we don't struggle anymore. So our real endurance is not to endure with outside situations or people or places or anything. Our real endurance is to struggle, to endure our various states of our mind and to let them go. That's the true endurance. You know. So all these in Dhammapada hai. You want in Kannada or you want in English?
Both, because I can read English, but my parents.
Okay. Kannada, you want Kannada, English, both?
Yeah.
Both, huh?
Both.
Do Kannada, do English. So this is a beautiful book. It's a small verses, four line
when
verses.
when you people are talking, you saw me. I go to a stage where my mind becomes empty, so it becomes peaceful. The peacefulness brings sleep. That itself is a meditation. Many people do not know that also.
peacefulness can bring sleep.
Brings
Yes,
sleep,
that
and
is true.
sleeping is sleeping without any thoughts is a meditation by itself.
Sometimes it is. Sometimes it can lead to induced laziness also. Now you
No,
have to. Yeah. Yeah.
like I
Yeah.
said,
Yeah.
I have practiced meditation.
Yeah. Yeah.
In like I reached a stage where practicing myself as a yoga mudra, sitting in yoga mudra, practicing meditation will not be easy for me because I am a person who will be running around with the work.
You are
So,
also a doctor?
I'm a reporter, journalist.
Oh, okay.
So what I started 10 or 15 years back. Like I started to concentrate on what things I do, and I do it with utmost attention in whatever I do, and I felt complete satisfaction in that.
That's
That
all.
itself is the meditation.
That itself. Being at the present moment.
Yeah.
Whatever you are doing, you are there.
And I used to love what I used to do, whether it's a small thing or a big thing, whatever it was.
You are
So
there.
I reached that stage.
Yes.
So from there on, I started, and it went to yoga nidra mudra. Like like when I perfection myself in things what I do and all. Then the next stage was, okay, this has become a default. By default, I am doing it. Is there anything else to improvise? So then it took my sleep. Then I started feeling that if you are in sleeping mode and you want to sleep the natural sleep, then also you can go to that mudra where you can leave yourself. The body leaves you and it goes somewhere. It travels around. It does for everyone it does the same, but for me it goes to the enlightened stage and come back in the morning, and I feel that okay, I have done a meditation. Rather calling it as a sleep, I can say it is a meditation for me.
In fact, sometimes if you go deep into meditation, when you are about to dream or dreaming, you will also know in the dream also you will know this is a dream. This
Yes,
is
I know.
it is not real.
Real. Yes, I know that. I have felt that. I have felt many times like that. Okay.
So
Like
people-
I used to speak myself in the dream, telling that okay, I am sleeping now, I am dreaming this. So it is a dream. I
it is
speak
a
to
dream.
myself.
You know, the
ನಾನು
dream as a
ನಾನೇ
dream.
ಮಾತಾಡ್ಕೋತೀನಿ.
Dream as a dream. It's not. It's you know. It's
I
a
know
dream.
that it's a dream actually. I
It's
speak
not
to
real.
myself.
It's not real.
Does Buddhism believe in astral travel and
There are certain things, but we don't talk about these things because they are not necessary at this level. Our primary purpose is to improve the level of our mind. So our primary, there are people who goes to very high level of meditation. They can.
Can you take the photo? Can you take the photo? Is it allowed?
Yeah, sure.
doing a video?